series here on the Zombie Orpheus Entertainment channel on Twitch, brought to you in partnership with Pinnacle Entertainment Group, the makers of the Savage Worlds game system. I'm your host and GM, James Durham. The Reliables is an interactive Savage Worlds tabletop RPG where you, our audience, have a direct impact on the story and events of the show. So let's take a look at our wonderful store and all of the wild items that we have for you. And let's see what you can buy today for support our show, support more shows like this, help it can pay the actors so they'll keep showing up. All the great stuff that comes from funding this show. We've got for the $5 increment, there is the shout out, which maybe you want to give some advice, maybe you have a birthday wish to send, maybe you just have a joke that you really want to tell. I mean, it's anything you want to do. Just keep in mind when you're doing the shout out that the bot will censor you if you try to put something offensive or potentially offensive in there.
Do it.
The $15 level, we have the Friends with Benefits, which you can give the players a Benny to use during the course of the game. We currently have 4 of those in the store right now that they can spend at any time to re-roll one of those dice rolls that come up in the game, or use them for a variety of other effects that the Benny can be used for in Savage Worlds. We also have Treat the GM. If you want to buy me a Benny so that I can make things harder or give the bad guys a better chance of surviving their fights with the heroes, you can, in fact, buy that. That's also at the $15 level. For the $20 level, we have Win, Lose, or Draw, which allows any one of our cast members to draw an extra initiative card when we're dealing out the cards and take whichever one they want. If you just want to see us dance like puppets on strings for you, we have Magic Dance at the $50 level, where we are forced to obey your command and dance for your amusement. For $30, we have a Truth Serum, and pick a protagonist. That player gets Truth Serum is a leftover from another show, and I'm reading it off the toilet. Truth Serum is not available in this show, even though you'll find it in the store, because Truth Serum is from Void Jumpers, which you can totally use on that show, which is on Wednesdays. And if you haven't seen Void Jumpers, you really should start. We've got Story Time here at the $50 level, which you select a character when purchased, and that character's got to tell everyone a story from their past or their history, something that helps shape them into the person they are today. And the one I missed there was our reliable source, our confidential, where you can pick one of our cast members and they will in real time give you a lovely little confessional of what's going on or how they feel about something. Maybe how they feel about getting 4 critical failures in a single episode. Maybe how they feel about blowing themselves up with a grenade. Any number of other wonderful and interesting things. There is also, of course, the rule of cool, which, when you just want the players to be able to do any possible thing in the world, physics be damned. The rule of cool is for that. We go through and each player names off the craziest, wildest, most intensive thing that they can think of. And then you guys in chat get to vote on it. And whoever gets voted automatically succeeds critically, but everybody else still has to try their crazy plan, but at an additional -2 penalty. Ignore the GM swap in the store because that also is from another show. But we'll skip on to that to the Hack Attack, which is in the store. And maybe you want to add something like a transforming, talking stagecoach with an alcohol problem. Maybe you want to make things flood. Who knows? There's all kinds of crazy things you can do with the Hack Attack, but it's there for you to add your thing to the store and to the story as it's going on. So, hey, why don't I talk about all the lovely people I have in the studio and on this?
Where do they all come from?
Yeah, where do they come from and who are they? We have Sean Franklin as John Stone, Cyborg, Badass, and Team Leader. It's up to John to forge this group of misfits into a team of heroes. Xander Layden is Paul, an enormous rock-like creature and the last survivor of their dimension. Paul is an expert in all matters science, academic, medicine, the occult, you name it. Driven by insatiable curiosity, they greatly look forward to each new dimension and discovery upon the team's travels. Elise Moore is Ranger Rhonda Riddenhauer, the last Space Ranger, protector of the galaxy, and proud bearer of the Best Human Shield merit badge. Ellen Roundhill is Princess Hedgehog, the last goblin from their dimension. Princess Hedgehog is an incredibly powerful practitioner of magic and greatly misses being the center of attention of all of their many adoring fans. Together, they are the Reliables, traveling across time and dimensions to make the universe a better place, one mistake at a time. So before we get started with the show, let me tell you a little bit about Savage Worlds.
Oh.
Savage Worlds is the game system that we use for this show. And like many tabletop RPGs, Savage World uses dice. The better a character or creature is at a skill or attribute, the higher the die they use in conjunction with that attribute or skill. Success for many basic tasks requires a roll of a 4 or better, with those rolls that exceed the target number by 4 or more called raises. In addition, almost every die roll in the Savage Worlds game can ace. This is when the die roll is the highest number possible. When this occurs, you get to roll the die again and add it together, potentially triggering another ace. And another ace after that, and another ace after that. There is no upper limit to the time that you can ace. Initiative in Savage Worlds, or determining who goes first with any given turn, is determined by a deck of playing cards, with those drawing the highest cards acting first. In the case of a Joker, not only can their character take their turn at any time, including interrupting an action in progress, but any skill or attribute rolls made by that character within the turn get a +2 bonus. Overall, Savage Worlds is fast, furious, and fun, just like the creators intended it to be. And I hope you enjoy the show and the game system. When we last saw the crew of the Reliance, they had barely escaped their pursuers on their last mission, forcing the ship to jump dimensions and ending up in the warped space in between them. Perhaps through luck, or perhaps through something far more sinister, they found and passed through a wormhole into an unknown dimension, crashing the heavily damaged ship on a tropical beach. The ship is in dire need of repairs, with nearly all systems offline. Using the glitching sensors on board, John Stone has detected a civilization with 20th century equivalent technology not far from their crash landing, where perhaps parts and materials can be found to get the team back on mission. Leaving behind Jonamox and Vector Reigns to secure the Reliance, the rest of the team has ventured into this mysterious new dimension, unknowing of what awaits them. Ahead, there are plumes of dark smoke rising above a jungle canopy, and what sounds like perhaps scattered weapons fire. Firearms and energy weapons? Perhaps the earlier sensor readings about the technology level were incorrect.
Okay, I'm detecting what seems like plasma weapons up ahead. Something
Sounds
like
about right.
that. Definitely far more advanced than what I expected from this place,
Definitely.
which actually could play in our favor. They might have the proper things that we need to repair the Alliance.
That was also my thought.
Very good, Ray.
I mean, a couple of rocks would probably do it, maybe some twigs. Just give me enough time and, we don't need to get picky. But I mean, if we're in a hurry, like you folks tend to be, don't want to take 10 years to get off here. Yeah.
Paul, we're going to go for the most advanced tech we can find to repair the ship, okay?
Okay.
All right. I appreciate your expertise in all things science, and you could probably, rebuild the warp core out of some igneous rocks, but we're going to go for 10.
Yeah, no. Just
Nice.
25, 30 years. I mean, it wouldn't be that hard. I mean, we got time, right?
No, we don't.
Oh, okay.
So plasma weapons, you say. Those sound, well, yeah, so dangerous is the first word that comes to mind. And I was thinking maybe, if Paul's going to stay back here, attempting to repair the ship, I am handy and can help. And y'all can just scurry off and get the things that you need.
No, actually, Paul's coming with us. And by us, I mean you as well, and Ranger Rhonda.
But plasma weapons. I don't do plasma weapons.
Princess, once again, I would like to offer my services as your human shield.
Human
I
shield.
did earn a badge as best human shield at
Yes,
the
you did.
academy. I have taken a lot of hits while the people behind me have fixed ships, done magic, finished their drink. You know, happy to be of service.
Ranger
you
Rhonda,
say
I'd like to
Best.
point something out, Ranger. It's generally it's tactically better to take fewer hits.
Right. That's why I
See.
did not get the badge in tactical maneuvers. But human shield, number one.
Very well.
Well, if I'm going to have a human shield, I do want it to be the best. All right, Rhonda, I accept.
Happy to be of service.
Yes, I'm sure you are.
Paul, have you assessed precisely the equipment we're going to be needing to repair the Reliant?
Yeah, we're gonna be needing a lot of parts for the ship. Assorted parts. I'm trying to speak in simple terms here. I'll need parts.
Do you
Cool,
feel
cool,
that
cool.
this planet will have said parts?
I mean, I'd say it's a 50-50 shot. Either it does or it doesn't.
With the kind of weapons that I'm registering on my sensors, do you feel that this particular civilization is advanced enough to have the parts that we would need to repair the ship?
Give me some time. I'll have an answer in a relatively short time frame. Or we could go and find out. Probably be a little quicker. I mean, I could deduce it. Might take a couple months. But we're not in a hurry, right? I mean,
How long do your people tend to live?
about 500 million to a billion years, roughly.
Right.
And I mean, we don't really die. We just kind of stop moving. So maybe even longer, just, throwing that out there. I don't know. There's no real upper limit. How long do you live?
Well, being a cyborg, I have a pretty long life cycle, but not in the millions of years, no.
Pound it.
Yeah, okay. All right, put it there.
Yeah.
All right. Let's forge ahead and scout the area, see what we can find that's going to be useful for repairing the ship, all right?
I've been told I'm lucky to be alive.
Yes. All right.
Moving forward into the tropical jungle, it has a lot of strange flora and fauna in it. Larger than normal, but not absurdly large insect life. The atmosphere levels have a significantly higher nitrogen in it than you would have back on your home planet of Earth, Johnstone, or in most considered habitable planets that you have been on, Ranger Rhonda. But still within breathable parameters. It does explain some of the larger plant life and animal life that you've seen so far. As you make your way through the jungle, you hear the sound of some kind of drive overhead, and then looking up through the jungle canopy, a pair of flying craft, like streaks of metals, just go by at an incredibly high rate of speed, clearly driven by some form of of magnetic drive or advanced propulsion. It again, John Stone, clearly does not match the technology readings you picked up with the sensors. Those are far too advanced.
So that's interesting.
But good though, right? I mean, ships.
Good
Yeah,
for us, but it definitely raises more questions than answers.
In fact, could I get a science roll from Paul, who also observed this? What is your science, Paul?
My science is a 10 plus 2.
All right. Can we get a D10 plus 2 for Paul's science?
Oh,
I mean,
Well-
the ships.
A plus 2 makes those a 4 and a 5. A 5 and a 4 are both still successes for a basic level. Only because you have that plus 2 bonus, because Paul happens to be a scholar and so heavily versed in so many things. You can't be entirely certain, as they went by very, very quickly. Too quick to get too good of a look. But judging by the sounds that they made passing by overhead, you'd think that the drive systems on those small ships are remarkably similar to those on the Reliance.
The drives on these ships seem remarkably similar to those on the Reliance.
It's an incredible insight they have, Paul.
Yeah,
Fortunately,
kinda- weird. Go on.
right. Well, fortunately, I can track the energy signatures, and they are almost exactly like the type we use. Huh.
Great. Let's go.
meanwhile, I have disappeared into the brush, saying, "Oh my God, look at this mold! Is this a prehistoric?" Sorry, excuse me. I just have to." And I'm scraping things off of tree trunks and pocketing ferns.
Paul's gonna get down on that too as soon as it's pointed out. Oh yeah, moss.
Do you
Fascinating.
need an
Rhonda-
extra
Rhonda
jar?
has
I have
just-
jars.
Rhonda has
Oh,
just
I don't have any
taken off.
pockets.
Oh, that's
Good idea.
okay. I have many pockets. I can carry for you if you like. You usually carry me, so it's only fair.
This is paying dividends already.
Hog.
Moss.
Hog, this isn't why we're here.
What?
Princess,
Og.
Yes.
we actually have more pressing issues, all right? The Reliant being damaged, repairing it.
You know, I am actually looking forward to our future. I don't understand why we use mechanical ships rather than organic ones. Organic ships, I can heal. Or an organic ship gets broken, I can heal an organic ship. It's seaworthy, if you will, flight worthy within moments, you know. But then you go ahead and fly around in mechanical ships, which I will never understand. Why don't you just grow them? Just grow a ship. I heal it if it breaks. We fly off into the distance. But no.
Princess, wouldn't using an organic ship be considered a form of cruelty?
Oh, well, I guess it's good to be royalty.
Are you quite done gathering, Paul?
No, but we can keep moving. I mean, there's plenty of moss. I'll just look in my spare time.
We've
That's
got a
moss.
raid. The Pinnacle Entertainment Group that's given a raid. We've got a whole group of people straight over from their amazing show that they just did, and to do their wonderful Kickstarter for Savage Pathfinder, which you should check out if you haven't already. Savage Worlds, in conjunction with Paizo, is releasing Pathfinder under their rules, and they've been running a great show about it, and they're here to join us for this. You guys who came in the raid, welcome to The Reliables, our lovely Savage Worlds online weekly show. Our group of heroes is attempting to make the universe a better place, one mistake at a time. They are currently in a jungle in an unknown dimension, seeking out parts and materials to repair their crashed dimensional hopping ship, the Reliance. And you are, in fact, drawing closer to where your sensor readings indicated a civilization, John. And the smell of smoke has become much more powerful, and the plumes are a lot larger and able to be seen here. You are clearly on the outskirts of some small town, which was built right into the jungle here. The homes and buildings lie in ruins or ablaze. and there are fresh bodies in the street. There's some strange things about this right away. The construction is, again, more primitive, early 20th century style, but much larger. It, again, doesn't match the technology of flying vessels, but more like your early sensor readings indicate. The bodies could only possibly be described as anthropomorphic dinosaur people. Triceratops, brachiosaurs, ankylosaurs, even raptors, wearing ruined clothing, again, more reminiscent of the early 20th century style. There are ruined hulks of primitive automobiles scattered about, and a nearby train station is on fire. Overhead, there is an incredibly massive ship. The gleaming metal resembles some parts of the Reliance, and the drive system is clearly remarkably similar, although this ship is nearly 100 times the size. Ahead, the sound of machines and drilling can be heard.
Drilling.
Machines.
Well, I mean, this is it, right?
Where there's a lot
Can I
going
just
on.
float an idea here? The Reliance is pretty small, right? And that ship is pretty big. And I don't know about you, but I would like a suite of rooms. I feel like we're a little bit cramped. So I see an upgrade in our future. Maybe?
Yeah, we can't just steal that ship.
Well, goodness gracious, why not?
Paul, do you know anything about anthropomorphic dinosaurs? Were there any mergings of dinosaur DNA with human DNA in this civilization?
Well, fun fact, dinosaur is Latin for small chicken. And Latin is a dead language on Earth. Ergo, these things should be dead by all, leaps of logic.
Well, the dead ones are dead, but obviously...
Well, I've met one. I've met one of the anthropomorphic dinosaurs. I think his name was Arthur. Yeah. One of the other crews brought him back. Maybe one of the big ones, like Crash and that crew. They brought back an anthropomorphic. Maybe we're on that world.
Did they all have cute little hats?
Oh, some of them definitely had cute little hats. Arthur, though, he wears a cardigan, and it's just the cutest thing in the whole world. And he's a little bit short-sighted.
We're not going into dinosaur wardrobe right now. All right?
But
priorities,
have you
Ranger.
seen a stegosaurus in a cardigan, though? It is very cute.
I would pay money to see that.
Oh my gosh, you used to be able to do that. It was not cool.
Oh,
We are pressing forward
okay, right.
to
yes.
find the needed parts. And then also keep an eye out for anything else that could clue us into what exactly is going on here. All right?
Moving forward, you get closer to the sounds of machines and work, the drilling sound. The town is in even worse condition the further you travel. It seems though several blocks here have just been completely leveled by plasma weapons. More bodies, or more aptly, parts of more bodies are scattered here. At the center of the cleared area, a large drilling platform has been assembled, and there are those laboring on it that are very clearly these anthropomorphic dinosaur individuals, but their movements are very stiff and robotic, and they are working without making a single vocalization. Around them are car-sized hovering platforms outfitted with tools, machinery, and parts that are involved in whatever it is that they're doing.
These beings have been made into slave labor.
So that's not good.
The way they're shuffling is really creepy. It's kind of like, but like without the sound, but like.
Yeah, they're
It's right over there. I'm doing that.
curiously quiet.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm uncomfortable.
It's strange to say the least.
Don't
I'm
love
gonna.
it.
I want to do a scan to see if I can identify the other life forms besides dinosaur people. To try to
Absolutely.
figure out who's been accosting them and enslaving them.
Absolutely, Johnston. Can you give me what your electronics roll would be, and we can have that rolled for us?
Electronics is 4 + 4.
All right, a D4 + 4 and the D6 wild die. That's going to be either a 7 or an exploding 6. Oh, man, that
Hey.
aces. And we're going to end up with a total of 12 because of your +4 bonus to the electronic skill. You are, in fact, able to pick up a variety of things with your enhanced scanning. First and foremost, as you notice with it on the edges of this clearing, there are somewhat mechanical-like beings also moving about. But again, it's kind of a misnomer. There's something strange about them. The energy signatures on these mechanical beings are identical to those coming off of the dinosaur people. The same frequencies, the same patterns, and it really doesn't match biologicals. A biological creature would have a much smaller and less noticeable energy signature. You also notice that among them, there are very, very high frequency video waves, sound waves within that spectrum traveling back and forth and up to that ship as well. If you didn't know better, you'd say that they're communicating in a spectrum that individuals with ears would not normally be able to pick up.
Huh. Well, from what I can
In the
detect,
mean,
go ahead, Hog.
oh, I was gonna say that in the meantime, I've run up to what is the smallest dinosaur I can find, knowing that I am approximately this big by comparison, and have started nattering at it and saying, "Hello, hi, my name is Princess Hedgehog. You may call me your liege or your majesty. I'm just wondering, is everything okay here? Because you look really unhappy. And, you know, I'm here to bring joy. Well, actually, no, I'm here to rule, but hopefully being ruling, I also bring joy. Just
They're not going to respond.
It takes a moment, actually, Princess Hedgehog, of you nattering before it seems to slowly turn and regard you with. They blink, but you would almost call them dead eyes. I mean, it's barely respirating. The movements are, again, very stiff, very unnatural. And then it looks at you for a moment. And at the moment that it is looking at Princess Hedgehog is when you, Johnstone, detect a massive spike in those sound waves or those radio waves that are traveling back and forth. And those the mechanical beings are definitely moving in your direction at a high rate at this point.
All right, wake up, crew. Something's happening. Okay, they're aggressing us, or at least moving toward us. So be ready. Can I detect whether they are about to the signal? Is there any way that I can decipher the signal or interrupt it?
I will give you a smarts roll to see what you can figure out about said signal. What is Johnstone's smarts?
Only a 6.
Hey, D6 and a D6 wild die. Let's see if Johnstone can figure it out. It is a tall order to attempt to figure out, but you also do have recordings of it, so you will have lots of time in the future to figure that out as well. You know, assuming that you survive. And the critical failures are back.
What?
In attempting to decipher it, you have a tremendous spike, which nearly scrambles you and stuns you for almost a second. It is so very painful, almost a short circuit, as there is just so much information being carried very quickly. Even with that critical failure, you're able to figure out that quite possibly that, yes, 100%, this is how they communicate with each other. But you have no idea what it was they're communicating. The point becomes very moot, however, as the leaping through the air on some sort of propelled jump pack type things, these armored beings cross the clearing with plasma weapons pointed in your direction as they are closing in. And we are going to go to initiative cards as a fight breaks out.
This way, we'll do it the hard way.
Okay.
All right. Let's do it the hard way.
Oh my, how it looks like that before things get ugly, that Princess Hedgehog is going to start us off, and we're going to see what
Say she is.
excuse me, they.
Okay.
That is my mistake. It is they and them.
Well, honestly, with Princess Hedgehog, there is no wrong there is no wrong pronoun because all pronouns could potentially be correct. The only thing you don't want to do is misrank her.
Ooh,
that.
yeah.
Orzer. There is, yes, do not misrank. That will incur actual wrath. Wonderful. Well, since we're trying to make friends here, and since I'm hanging out with a dinosaur, I'm going to use a little bit of beast friend magic and try to befriend the dinosaur I was just talking to into allowing me to ride as my battle steed.
Oh, this is an adorable attempt. But what is your spell casting? Because this could be interesting.
My spellcasting is a 12.
Oh, you're really good at it. And I'm not going to spoil anything. So let's get that D12 and that D6. Ooh, that's 6 aces. I mean, this would, of course, have been a perfectly successful spell on a typical animal, beast, or dinosaur of another nature. But unfortunately, something is very wrong with this particular dinosaur you're attempting to befriend. And you're able to make contact with its mind very briefly, enough to know that the actual creature itself is in no control of its own body and has no say in any of the decisions that are being made by its body at this present time. And is, in fact, in horrible, horrible pain.
Oh, we don't like that. Not even a little bit. Well,
all right. Let's see who's next. Oh, that's going to be Paul. Paul, I'm also going to let you know at the start of your turn, because you have spent a lot of time in these previous moments while everyone is going about their things, analyzing the situation, as you are very prone to do everywhere you go. And you are fairly certain that one of those hovering carts full of tools and machinery and parts would be sufficient to repair the Alliance, given even a short period of time.
Okay. I'm gonna very slowly and casually just kind of saunter up to one of these beings and just kind of give them a good look over. Just kind of a,
One of the mechanical ones that is jumping through the air with the plasma weapons, or one of the dinosaur people?
One of the mechanical ones. I'm just gonna get right up in its face and just kind of do this for as long as I can get away with it.
Excellent. What is your notice skill?
My notice skill, let's see. I don't think I have oh yeah, I do have a notice skill. That's an 8.
All right, so we'll take a D8 and the D6 wild die from Paul and see what he can figure out through observation. Ooh, that's a pair of 2s. You can, of course, spend one of those bennies to re-roll it if you wish.
Oh, I am. I'm not going to take this lying down. No. Okay,
a 5 is going to be a success. You are able to determine a few things looking at it. At first, you thought perhaps this was some kind of robot or construct, but it very clearly is not and has no discernible power source in it. I mean, you would think that it would be completely inert. I mean, there's nothing making it move in a traditional robotic or construct sense. Clearly not powered through magic or animated in some fashion. No battery seems to be driving it. It's more like if a completely metal action figure just started moving of its own accord.
Okay. Okay, that was my action.
Yes.
And Monster Slayer, is that okay, that's a different role, and that's just for supernatural things, correct?
Yes, that is for supernatural beings. That is absolutely correct.
Gotcha.
All right, I believe we're going to go to the Ranger, Rhonda, next with the 7. I think you are next in line on initiative, Ranger.
Okay, I'm going to go. Rhonda just moves kind of between the incoming scary robot people and Princess Hedgehog, fulfilling her vow to always become a human shield. Of course, Rhonda has to say, stop, Ranger approaching, cease your actions and no harm will come to you, drop your weapons and come peacefully or peace will be forced upon you. And she's got kind of her hands out and is like doing kind of like a like in the safety thing in an airplane.
You, of course, are duty bound to give every enemy the opportunity to surrender, and you have most certainly fulfilled that requirement. It doesn't seem like it's going to be taking you up on that offer. They are definitely bringing those plasma weapons to bear.
Okay, I think at this point, I'm gonna just run over to Hedgehog. She's just under one arm. I'm like, I'm so sorry, Princess. I'm so sorry, Princess. I'm so sorry, Princess. And I run over to John Stone, and I'm like, we need to create a little bit more of a two-pronged attack here, because I don't think these guys are gonna stop. So let's see. I just take I'm gonna get every opportunity. I'm gonna take my gun and just shoot it up in the air and see if anybody, for the love of God, stops coming. I really don't want to have to hurt anybody today. I just was here for ship parts, please. And just Hedgehog under one arm.
Yeah, you most certainly are able to fire your weapon into the air. Again, doing everything that you can to try and not have a conflict here. Unfortunately, it goes to me next on initiative with the 6, and there is very much going to be a conflict here. You have been determined to be a threat or a nuisance, one of the two, by these creatures or these beings. The dinosaur people are continuing with their labor, very slow, shuffling, methodical movements, seeming to give you very little attention beyond when the first one looked at Princess Hedgehog.
And every day they're shuffling. That's the problem.
Indeed. But the 6 jumping robotic-looking things, which Paul was determined are in fact not robots, are going to fire plasma weapons at the group of characters. And we are predominantly going to be targeting John Stone, Ranger Rhonda, and Paul as, one, Princess Hedgehog is so small, and two, Princess Hedgehog is being protected by Ranger Rhonda and being kept out of the line of fire. So we're going to roll 2 8-sided dice for shooting tests on each of you. So for John Stone, we have an 8 and a 6. Let's get that aces, so it could get worse. We can add to that 8 one more 8-sided dice, please, as it aces. So we will get a 10 and a 6. John Stone is going to be hit twice. That's 2 hits on John Stone. On Paul, we have a 4 and a 3. A 4 is enough for a success, but a 3 is not, so Paul will be hit once. And on Ranger Rondo, 2 of those. A 2 and a 7. A 7 enough to hit once. So we're going to do 2 damage rolls on John Stone. Those damage rolls also happen to be 2d8. So if I can get 2d8 for damage on John Stone twice, a 6. What is your toughness, John Stone?
My toughness is 18.
Oh, man, 18. That's not going to do it. So let's do the second damage roll, see if we can do a little better than 6. Oh, we have an 8 that aces. It could do better. And we're going to get a total of 22 there. That is going to be enough to exceed your toughness and hurt you. And with these plasma weapons being heavy weapons, they actually are capable of hurting you. You can take the damage and suffer a wound if you so choose, or you may spend a Benny and make a soak roll to try and get rid of that.
So how much damage is that supposed to be with my toughness being 18? 4 of it is armor?
Well, this weapon has no armor piercing, so 4 of it went through, which will be just enough to inflict 1 wound unless you soak it.
Man, a wound, I'm going to soak that thing.
All right, what is your vigor? What is your vigor, John Stone?
12.
All right, so a D12 and a D6 for John Stone for a soak roll, and a Benny is spent. A 5 is enough for success, which takes away 1 of those wounds. So, John, you, in fact, will not suffer a bit of damage from that particular hit.
But I'm mad.
You are probably upset now, and these weapons are definitely powerful enough to hurt even your heavily armored cybernetic frame. Plasma weapons are very dangerous. And we're going to do 1 damage roll on Paul for 2d8 also. Let's see what happens to our good hero Paul from this shot. And that 8 aces. Uh-oh.
Okay.
This does not look good. That's going to be 16 damage. What is your toughness, Paul?
That's going to be a 13.
All right, that will be enough to inflict itself a wound on you, unless you want to try and spend one of those bennies and soak.
How many pennies do I got?
Well, you
Is it
still
down to
have
2?
2 left, and there are 4 communal bennies in the store provided by chat. So you've got plenty to use if you want to use them.
Let's see.
Use it.
You know, I think even if I am wounded, it's not going to really impair me. I'm kind of tough, you know?
That is true.
Yeah, I'm going to save that for in case things get much worse.
All right, so go ahead, and you're going to take a wound. Now, for most
Mhm.
individuals, that would mean a -1 to all their die rolls, but Paul happens to be able to ignore that first point of wound penalty, so he's going to be just fine, even though he's wounded. You can't even tell he's actually hurt. And he is made of rock. It's very difficult to notice when he's actually injured at all. We've got one more damage roll to roll on Ranger Rhonda. Let's see if we manage to hurt the Space Ranger.
While I'm under Rhonda's arm, I'm gonna be like, "You got this."
Just I do.
All right.
She gets shot.
That's going to be a total of 14. What is your toughness, Ranger Rhonda?
She's tough.
I'm a human shield, baby. 19.
Oh, you're wearing that incredibly heavy Space Ranger body armor, and that absorbs the shot without you really taking more than the impact from it. But
And
these
just,
are
thanks,
very,
Princess. I got it, but thank you.
very dangerous plasma weapons nonetheless. And that takes us to John Stone, who is the last to go in this given round. These enemies are definitely dangerous, John Stone. Advanced technology weapons.
Mm-hmm. How many of them are there?
There are 6 of them that have currently engaged you, and probably a lot more, judging by the gigantic ship overhead.
Right. The one nearest me. How many of them are really close to me?
They're within shooting distance, so they're about 30 to 40 feet away where they landed from their jumps. But you can easily close that distance if you so choose.
Exactly. And how big are they?
They're about your height. They're about 6 feet tall. They're fairly identical in appearance. And again, you also, with your enhanced senses, can see now what Paul noted shortly ago, that while they look robotic, they clearly are not robots. More like action figures that are moving of their own accord. It's very strange.
Right. There's nothing organic inside a suit, though. It's just
No. Nothing organic at all that you're detecting. It's very strange, but very similar energy signatures among all of them have a slight fluctuation to them. It's quite odd.
Huh. All right. I'm gonna put. Let's put them to the test then. Okay. I'm going to close the distance on one of them, and I'm going to see if I can just disarm it. I actually want to take its plasma rifle.
All right, stripping a weapon from an enemy. That's going to be an athletics test that you're going to do, which is going to be opposed by their athletics test. So what is your athletics, John Stone?
Now, in this one move, though, once I take it, can I still do, I guess it'll be a penalty, but I want to do another move after that.
Absolutely. You can take a multi-action, so you'll be at a -2, and you'll still be able to take another action. So what is your athletics?
12 plus 3, baby.
So it's going to be still a 12 plus 1, even with the penalty. So a 7 is going to be opposed by them. They're not as talented as you with athletics, but it still gets a D8 to attempt to oppose your 7. So if I can have one 8-sided dice to try and beat that 7, a 3 is not going to do it, and you are going to strip the plasma weapon straight from its hands, and you still have another action because you took the multi-action penalty. What are you thinking about doing with that action?
I just quickly take it and spin it around and then shoot him with his own rifle.
Perfect. What is your shooting skill, John Stone?
My shooting skill happens to be 12.
All right, a D12 -2 for the multi-action. You're going to get a 6 or a 3. A 6 is still a success. So John Stone's going to inflict 2d8 damage upon his enemy. And let's see how well that enemy fares with those 2 8-sided dice of damage. Oh, that 8 aces, it could get worse. And, oh man, a total damage inflicted of 12 points. The plasma weapon discharges at point-blank range, and it knocks this action figure-like robot-type being backwards, and it hits the ground, kind of struggles for a moment, and then a strange golden burst of energy blasts forth from its chest straight towards the ship high above, and the friend becomes motionless.
Well, that was interesting.
And let's deal out another round of cards for another round of combat. As things get interesting. Oh, once again, the princess is going to head us off. Oh, wait, I think Ranger Rhonda has something to say.
I think I have to re-roll.
Or
If
you
you
get
get
another
above a
card.
5?
You're right. You have a quick, so you can't take anything of a 5 or lower. You get a replacement card that's got to be better than that 5. Is it going to be better than that 5? No, it's not. You get another replacement card. A 7 is better than the 5, but it does mean we're still going to start with the incredible, the dynamic Princess Hedgehog.
Okay, so how close am I to dinosaurs at this point?
Not particularly close, as Ranger Rhonda snagged you and dragged you back to where John Stone was.
Right. And there's still one more of the...
There are
flying.
5 of these things.
5 of them. How did I think there were only 2 to begin with?
Oh, there are quite a few. And the dinosaur people are still continuing to labor away, not paying any attention to the lot of you.
Okay. How close to each other are these things?
They've got about 8 to 10 feet in between them, so they're not very, very close, but they're decently close to each other. What did you have in mind?
So if I were to shoot a cone of havoc at them, say, they would have to defend against me just swatting them out of the air.
You could definitely catch at least 2 with the cone.
Let's do it.
All right, give me that spell casting roll. Is there any modifiers?
It's a 12.
Any modifiers you want to use from the Havoc spell before you cast it?
I think it's 1 point per, right? So if I'm targeting 2 of them.
Oh no, there's no increase in cost to target multiple. That's just if you want to do added effects for the Havoc spell.
Gotcha.
And for those watching at home, what does Havoc do?
We're about to go into that. Oh, but go right ahead. Tell us all about
Havoc creates chaos and mischief by scattering nearby objects, especially difficult for creatures that are flying to overcome this thing. But basically just throws them with a burst of speed and aplomb. Incorrect use of the word aplomb, but you're welcome. Let's see, and I will add strong to that. That is the modifier that I want to throw onto that.
With strong and with a raise on the spellcasting roll, and against creatures that are using or beings, in this case, jump packs to be technically flying. Those are 3 completely stacking modifiers of 2, so they're going to have a -6 to their strength test to try and remain in play. So both of those figures get to roll D8 for their strength tests, but they're at -6 on those strength tests. So odds are against them. A 1's not going to do it for one of them, and can I get one more? An 8 does ace. This one's got a chance. 13 subtracting 6 is 7, so it will be able to maintain its position using that jump pack. But one of them is propelled backwards through the air, somersaulting end over end, and then bouncing off of that drill frame that's being worked on by the dino people, and spinning around somewhere out of sight behind a ruined building. Being in the air when you are propelled by Havoc is not a fun thing. In addition, both of those beings are going to count as distracted when it comes to their turn. Nicely done, Princess. And that's going to take us to Paul next.
Okay. So last thing Paul was doing was just kind of hemming and hawing over one of these dudes. So they're just gonna kind of amble slowly back to John Stone and just kind of lean in. Commander, if I'm correct, you were scanning them earlier, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't like hear at that frequency, otherwise I'd decode it. Do you have like a readout, or can you just make like a high-pitched like dial-up sound, or recreate or communicate it to me in any way?
Yes. If you
that'd be great.
if
If
you
you
have
could do that, that'd be great.
Okay, if you have a frequency analyzer, I can just beam him a recreation of the pattern that I absorb and I got zapped by it.
Paul does happen to have a frequency analyzer, so that most definitely can be an action for you here, Paul.
Mhm.
What are you attempting to do?
So
Explain in detail.
I'm looking to do a two-part action here. One, I want to learn the patterns of this frequency and what it may be communicating or indicating. See if it can be broken down into some sort of language. And then I want to see if either I have the capability with this analyzer to broadcast, or otherwise see if I can kindly have Mr. Stone help me out with broadcasting a signal using the translated frequency. That's it in a nutshell. Seeing if I could do this in two actions, or more if need be.
You can definitely attempt to pull this off with two actions. The first roll I'm going to need from you is going to be a science roll.
Science roll, that's a 10 plus 2.
All right, a D10 plus 2 and the D6 wild die. That 10 aces. Oh, wow. This is going to be good with an 18 total. It takes you but a moment to decipher these strange high-pitched frequencies that are in, and you are 100% certain that it is a language. You even are beginning to grasp the basics of their language. They are very much communicating, and communicating constantly with each other, with these dino people, which are sending out these frequencies, even though they clearly are not the same kind of being, and with the ship overhead, and even these smaller ships that are flying around. It's a remarkable language, capable of sending incredible amount of information in just the quickest burst of time. It's very scientific-based language, and they are clearly ordering the extermination of you and your allies, as you are in the way of harvesting something.
Okay.
Don't like that.
Yeah, they have been drilling.
Yeah.
We heard the drilling sounds.
I'd like to send them a message if possible.
That's going to be that second roll, and for this one, I'm going to need you to use a hacking skill to try and break into that frequency and use it.
Okay, that's a 6.
All right, so a D6, D6 wild die.
Well, am I able to help him if he needs it?
Yeah, I was. My plan initially was actually just to see if I could just use John Stone's hardware if he was up for it.
Well, then what we'll
it's
do
going to be
is
higher tech than mine. Yeah.
What we'll do is we'll instead use your roll there for hacking as a support roll, so that when it gets to John Stone, you'll have counted as supporting him. And an 11 is definitely a success in the support. So when John Stone makes the attempt, he will get to do so at a +2 bonus on his turn.
Okay, excellent.
Nicely done, Paul. All right, who is our next person in the initiative count?
Me?
I believe that, in fact, you are right, Ranger.
All right. I want to go for the cart of goods, because that's what we need. And these science friends are talking gibberish, and I don't understand what's happening at all. Like John Stone's kind of going like, it's like, and Paul's just nodding a lot, and I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. So, Princess, if you're amenable, I'm going to go for the cart. Do you want to go with me? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's great. Let's do it.
Great, because I just saw you straight up blast people out of the air, and that's amazing. So I kind of take Hedgehog and put her. No, I'm gonna keep her like a football because that way I can shift you front or back depending on which shield position you need to be in.
Well,
I made
and
a
let's
promise.
be honest, I was gonna go with you no matter where you were headed because of that good shield.
Yeah.
You got that good shield, baby.
I got that good.
You
good.
You give good shield.
Mm.
Rhonda.
So Rhonda is just gonna like football, like Heisman Trophy football run. In case I don't know where these guys are, if they're between her and the cart at all, but I think Rhonda is, all American going for the cart.
Excellent. You in fact are able to do so. They seem to be very focused on John Stone and Paul right now, who are almost right in front of them. Of course, not the one that was propelled through the air and out of sight, but they still are very much focused on them, especially now that the two of them seem to be up to something. And
I would like to point out that even though they're not paying attention to Rhonda, Rhonda is still running, head down, arm forward, like there are people in her way.
It is a great run, and there are a lot of these carts about, and you're able to reach one. And as you begin pushing it, it actually propels really far ahead of you, outside of your reach when you first impact. You weren't expecting it to have no weight to it, so when your extended arm made contact, you just propelled it forward like a speeding car, straight out of this start part of the street and away from the clearing, back the direction that you came towards the Reliance. And it's just rocketing along, hovering away, though it's clearly loaded down with at least a ton of pieces of material, equipment, parts, and the like. And you are running to catch up, still holding Princess Hedgehog like a football under your arm. Lovely. All right, that brings us to the 3 of spades, because it's spades before hearts in the game of Savage Worlds. And John is our next person to act. John Stone, Paul already successfully supported you if you want to do anything to that signal that was sent out.
Yeah, let's do that then. I'm going to piggyback off of his plan and help him with the hacking.
All right, what is your hacking ability, John Stone?
12 plus 2.
Ooh, and then an additional +2 because you're supported. So that's going to be a D12 plus 4 for John Stone's hacking attempt. Ooh. That is quite the ability. Even with only a 4 roll, that becomes an 8. So it is a success with a raise, even with that very, very low roll that you had there. Not even the best of what John Stone can do, but thankfully, Paul did some of that heavy lifting, deciphering out these frequencies. And now that he's done so, you very much can read into them as well. And they're communicating. They're communicating very rapidly, giving orders, discussing this harvesting and the use of biologicals to assist them in their harvesting. You're fairly certain that the same forms of energy that are somehow keeping these robotic creatures attacking you are also occupying the biological forms of these dino people and forcing them to engage in labor. It's like they have some ability to possess physical bodies and utilize them.
So is that my only act for this round?
Oh, no, I want to know what you're trying to do with your message, because that's going to determine something here.
Paul, did you have a specific thing in mind?
Well, if it was possible, I wanted to see if the signal could be used to forcibly, give them a real good reason to just kind of, get out of the bodies. I don't know if that's possible. Otherwise, we could just try to talk to them. Yeah.
So like a 1110111, let my people go?
Exactly.
Ejection. Okay, forcible ejection. They're going to get a chance to try and resist that. So I'm going to go with the 2 that are distracted first. They're going to be at D8 -2 for their attempt since they're distracted. And they're going against John Stone's success of an 8. So they're going to need an 8 to stay in the body there. Now that's going to be a 5 on the first one. Give me one more there, which is a 3. The 2 that are distracted definitely fail, and that leaves 4 others still making their attempts without the penalty. So 4 other 8-sided dice rolls there. And No, none of them get an 8. So of the armed ones, the more like action figure type, the ones in your immediate vicinity, you are able to immediately expel them from the bodies they're inhabiting. And just like the one that was damaged, they flop to the ground, motionless, and a burst of energy leaves the body and travels up towards the ship. You're only able to pull that off very short range around the area around you, but you seem to have bought yourself a moment of time. But judging by those communications that were going out, there's going to be a whole lot more of those things on the way very soon. Thankfully, Rhonda has already snapped the parts and is on the move.
Yeah, she is.
Well, since we're out of initiative for now, what's next, guys? Well, what is your plan now that you have temporarily given yourself a reprieve from the hostiles?
Is Rhonda so far down the street that she doesn't see the lights go and the bodies fall?
Oh, absolutely. Because you're also still Heisman running.
Okay. Have I been able to catch up with the cart yet?
You have almost caught up with the cart. And it slows down a little bit, but with that hover capability, it doesn't really make a lot of friction. So the reduction in speed takes a minute.
I think it's like, okay, princess, I have got to go back and help those guys. So I just need you, and I'm gonna like just toss Princess Hedgehog non-consensually at the cart to get her. I'm like, you take it. I gotta go back. But here, I got you. I'll shield you from here.
Can I get an athletics test, Ranger, as you toss Princess Hedgehog?
It's a D12.
All right, the D12 and the D6 from Ranger Rhonda. Tossing. Wow, an 11 is definitely a success, and you toss perfectly Princess Hedgehog right onto the cart.
That is so non-regal.
Never in my life. I have never been tossed so. I have never been treated with such disrespect. Where is my human shield? Oh my god. I don't even know what I am looking for. It is a cart full of... Should I take all of them? Should I take none of them? What am I even doing here? This looks like nothing that I know.
Just keep going. Just keep going back to the ship. I'm right behind you. I promise. And she Rhonda, full panic, gets out the impact maul, gets her gun out, runs pell-mell back into the opening where just they're all on the ground and dinosaurs are just shuffling around.
Yep, the dinosaurs are still shuffling around and working, but those armed beings are just laying motionless.
I'm here. I'm ready. Well, you guys are good. Okay, cool. Oh, I just threw a princess. Oh, she's gonna be so mad. Dang it.
You threw the princess?
She was... Oh, no.
I don't think she'd take that lying down.
She's gonna be so mad.
No, not lying down. In fact, flying through the air. I can fly. It was unnecessary.
Well, I've got the cart. Princess is on the cart, moving it in the direction of our ship. I hope that this is enough for us to be able to fix it. Okay, I'm good.
Meanwhile,
good work, Ranger. Yeah.
I very badly want to try something. And you're welcome to tell me absolutely not. But if I am even relatively close to these dinosaurs, I brought a sponge with me that makes everything happy. And I feel really bad that they are suffering and unhappy. So I kind of want to unleash an ecstasy spore cloud at the dinosaurs, hoping to make their working conditions at least a little bit better.
How exactly do you want to do that, Princess Hedgehog? I want to hear your plan here. They are a big distance, so are you going to throw this thing? How are you going to go about it?
Well, so I was thinking because Havoc scatters everything, that I would shake the jar, open it, and then cast Havoc at the cloud of ecstasy that it creates in the direction of the dinosaurs.
I will say it's possible. I will warn you that you will also be putting that cloud straight through your allies to reach said dino people.
I'm sorry, you're trying to tell me that I'm going to make John Stone very happy?
It is very unlikely to work on me.
I'm just going to point it out that's a thing.
Oh, but it's catatonic, isn't it?
That was what the science said, but what's science? You do magic.
Well, and after all, we
You
are
can
the
do magic.
reliables.
You can have anything that you desire. Magic. You're the one who can
Since
put out
we're
the fire.
making the world a better place, one mistake at a time, I say let's do it.
I think
All
it's
right.
going to go great.
Give me the spellcasting roll for your Havoc, which is a D12, right?
It's D12, yeah.
D12. All right. Let's see what the spellcasting roll turns up on that Havoc.
Oh, no.
Do you want to use one of those bennies?
Yes, I do. Of course I do.
Wow.
All right,
There
the
it
6
is.
aces, so that's potentially better. The 11 is better than a 7, but 11 is still a success with a raise. So you most certainly shake this up, opening it up, and propel it forward. Now, of course, when you open it up, some of that is in your immediate vicinity, too. So you are going to be partly under the effect of this as well. So we're going to have vigor rolls for everyone, and they're going to be at different states based upon the type of being that they are. We're going to start with the easiest to affect, which is going to be Ranger Rhonda. Being a completely biological human, these spores have the highest potential to affect you. So
Oh,
you're
boy.
gonna make your vigor test at a -4. What is your vigor?
D10.
All right, so a D10 -4 for Ranger Rhonda. The 6 aces, you might actually come out of this okay. Oh, wow.
Oh.
They seem to have just no effect on you at all. You don't even sneeze from impact or interaction with these strange spore things. Then we go
Ranger
to
Rhonda is already too happy to get any
Yeah.
here, is what I have heard.
That's whatever the effect is, it just makes you Ranger Rhonda.
yeah, that could be the second easiest person or being to affect is going to be yourself, Princess Hedgehog. So you're adding
Sure.
-2 on your vigor test. What is your vigor?
It's a 6.
All right, so a D6 at a -2. Another ace. Wow.
Oh.
Well, an 11 -2 is a 9, which is still a success with a raise. So again, no effect.
But she's over, like, I'm over here just, like, trying to huff spores back, being like, but I want it to be happy.
Indeed. Apparently, both Ranger Rhonda and Princess Hedgehog are just too high on life to be bothered by this. So the next two who are very difficult to affect are going to be, of course, John Stone and Paul. We'll start with Paul, who gets to make his vigor test at a +2 bonus because, well, breathing isn't a thing.
That's a 12.
So a D12 +2 for Paul. And again, yeah, that's a 10. A raise, 0 effect on Paul whatsoever, even for science. Never going to figure out what that potentially could have done. And then John's the same thing, a +2 bonus on that vigor test, which I believe is also a D12.
Yes.
All right, so a D12 +2 for John as well. And of course, that wild die, which also aces. Wow, acing these tests. An 11 or a 12, both of those are successes with a raise. No one is affected by the happy juice of the heroes. I'm going to make one collective roll for the group of dinosaurs because I don't want to be rolling for all of them, but because to reflect that there's a whole bunch of them, even though they're extras, I'm going to give them a wild die on this roll to give them slightly better chances of succeeding. So we're going to roll 2 6-sided dice for them. They are also, of course, at a -4 because they are completely biological beings. That 6 does ace, so they have a slight chance. It aces again. Wow. Apparently, the lunge is just completely ineffective. A 13 -4. Yep. That's gonna work. No wonders whatsoever. In fact, you begin to suspect that perhaps the science that they told you about is bunk, and that there's nothing special about the spores that are released by this fungus thing at all.
I think you're a liar. I think you're a liar. People told me that you made people deliriously happy, but here we are, still as miserable as we were before. I'm disappointed, but I will still keep you as a pet.
But I will point out that all of you did observe the princess open up the jar and attempt to expel spores through yourselves and into the direction of the dino people. Spores that were previously analyzed to cause a near catatonic state of euphoria and biological beings exposed to.
Yes, and I'm pissed. And I'm going over to the princess and looking down at her and putting my finger right in her forehead. And I'm like, Hog, you almost intoxicated your own teammates in the middle of a combat zone. You could have gotten us all killed.
Did anyone ever tell you that pointing was rude? Rude.
And I give her...
You should be ashamed.
For me, what is a really gentle flick on the forehead.
Oh.
And apparently I explode. Oh my goodness.
John Stone's gentle flick on the forehead makes you see stars, princess. It's quite the impact.
Abuse? Never in my life. I am royalty. I am special. I was trying to help.
Ranger,
see if I try to help again.
Grab her, bring her along.
Rhonda's just been like looking at all the dinosaurs in clothes and like just giggling and like trying to put stuff on them. And she's like, what? Yep, what? Right. Okay, I got. Yeah. But the tutu would be so cute. All right, here we go.
So now that we've gotten we were able to get the sentries to stand down. Are the dinosaur people still entranced right now? Are they still working? What are they doing right now?
They seem to be continuing with their work, and you are still receiving those messages that Paul was able to decode for you. So you're still tapped into the frequencies and can hear them communicating. The laborers seem to be still under orders by whoever is controlling that large ship above to continue their work. And they are apparently dispatching a reactionary force to deal with the intruders, which you assume is, well, you.
No, wow. All right, heads up, folks. We got incoming. They weren't too happy with a little stunt, and they've got backups on their way now.
Like,
let's get that cart moving.
Paul, do you see any way to break the spell over these dinosaur people? It seems to be all coming from the ship somehow.
What do you think I was trying to do?
Well,
get everybody high?
Okay, I think if we were to modify and amplify the signal that we created, we could probably have some sort of effect. While I have the floor, I just want to make one thing very clear. I'm going to say this once and only once. I'm kind of a dour individual. People say I'm not very fun, and maybe think I'm not very happy. And I just want to say I recognize Princess Hedgehog's attempt to improve my mood and add some levity to the proceedings in the spirit with which it was given. So thank you for that.
You are so welcome.
You can try to test drugs out on me anytime you like. It's probably not going to do anything.
So there's a wild Friday night in our future. Okay.
I will be the designated shipmate. I don't drive.
We all heard that, right? We all heard that? Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. So I have a mushroom you should try. Well,
Bet she does.
I know that sounded dirty. It really did sound dirty, and I'm very, very sorry. I did really mean drugs and not,
No, yeah, we know.
Well,
know.
although if no, okay, no, we can keep. Let's keep
Princess.
the mission that we should. Yes,
Let's-
hi.
let's-
I want you
get
to
back to
know
the plan.
I would try you any day of the week. You seem fun.
I've
Like
never
a drug. I would Yep.
all of my
So-
wildest dreams coming true.
I would dive right in.
So the signal.
Paul.
We
Yes.
amplify the signal and we drive them out of their bodies. And then we leave with the cart. Sound like a plan? I mean, that's just
Amplify
my
the-
suggestion.
Amplify the signal. Make it stronger.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a short range thing when we had tried it on that group there. We could try to do something a little more ambitious.
Very well. I'm open to it.
Like a human shield, but for radio things. A radio shield.
You are, in fact,
like-
fairly certain, Paul, that given time and some equipment, you could probably put something together that could greatly amplify the range of John Stone's capability to do so. But you would definitely need time and equipment to do so, which seems to be,
Well-
the time part seems to be at a shortage at the moment. But the equipment, most definitely not.
Yeah.
I'm
right.
just
Including
digging
the
through stuff in the cart, being like, would this help? Would this help? How about this? What this do?
Rhonda
Yes,
also
really,
joins
please.
in. Was this? How about this?
What about this? Has wires. Wires
how
are
about
good.
this?
I hear wires are good. You can make
I've also
like
got
a
wires.
radio. It can. Never mind. Okay, what about this one?
We're
What
gonna
about
take
this
all
one?
of it. Yeah,
Oh.
all of it. We're gonna take all of it.
Getting the cart moving as the princess and Rhonda are showing you all these pieces. Again, your analytical mind takes over, Paul, and you're fairly certain that with the tools and equipment on that cart, you should be able to get the Reliance up and running fairly quickly, which might be a good idea with these hostile beings targeting you as some form of nuisance, threat, or intruder. It doesn't help the poor dino people, of course, but it might keep you alive long enough to come up with a plan to do that.
So if we get to work on it, and if I help him, and if the princess gives us a haste spell, how fast can we get it done?
Again, you'd want to get the parts back to the ship so Paul could use the equipment in Paul's
Oh, we're
lab.
not gonna create it here and take it to the ship. We have to go to the ship and do it.
Yeah, he's going to need parts from their lab. Paul,
Okay.
with their lab, Paul could probably build a variety of different methods that could affect the frequency used by these beings, but going to need that lab and some time to do so. But as far as repairing the ship goes, with what's here, especially some of the really advanced tools that are on board, repairing the ship will be a pretty quick job with all of this. Much easier than you originally thought with having to use primitive 20th century type tech. And this stuff is, well, it's fancier than just about anything you've ever seen. The technology level on it is extreme. It's higher than even the strange high-tech dimension you just came from and from most of the other dimensions you've come into contact with. And this stuff is really, really advanced.
Well, in the communication, they were also pissed about us interfering with their drilling. So I want to find out what they're drilling for.
Excellent. So as you're moving back, you're still continuing to monitor communications. Now that Paul's done the hard work for you, it isn't very difficult for you to keep track of it, as they're using these high-frequency radio waves, which travel for miles and miles. On one hand, it must be really convenient for them to communicate with each other, as distance isn't a factor. But being as they clearly haven't figured out that you're monitoring the signal, it also allows you to listen to all of their conversations, as it were, the entire time you're going, which comes in very handy as they are sending out the aerial patrols to hunt for you in the jungle, and the ground patrols. You just are able to continually stay out of sight and ahead of them by knowing where they are. They are harvesting something from the planetary core using this drill. And judging by the conversations that you hear as you're making your way back towards the ship, this isn't a new thing for them. And also you are able to determine that they very clearly aren't from this dimension, and that going to other dimensions and harvesting things from them or depleting them completely is the norm for whatever this species is. They strip mine essentially every dimension that they come into contact with zero care or concern for the native inhabitants there.
Wait a second. They're not have anything in common with the same folks that have destroyed all my comrades' people, are they?
No, they don't seem to be. They're very different. I mean, it seems like that they were perhaps an energy-based life form, perhaps even a hive mind or something very different. But most of the dimensional raiders you've encountered in the past have been biological beings, and also not nearly as advanced technology-wise as these people are. And again, more and more as you analyze their ships that fly overhead, replay the imagery from looking at the ship and their technology, it really matches parts of the Reliance, well, at least the original parts of the Reliance that haven't been patched back together 100 times. I mean, it's more advanced than the Reliance, but not a whole lot more, and very similar design structure and architecture and build-wise. This is something you are very sure that you need to notify the council about these beings and what they're up to. This is most seriously a threat that they would be interested in and want to know more about. This is exactly the sort of thing that the council formed together and had you form the team together to deal with, dimensional threats like this. And it's truly terrifying to listen to them and how very little they have any concern for this dimension, for any of the life that ever will exist here in this dimension. There's a selfishness, a lack of concern and apathy towards other life forms. And it's distressing to listen to it and to hear it. It isn't a maliciousness, but it's a sheer apathy, a selfishness that's horrible.
All right. And so we're on our way back to the ship right now, or are we still near?
Yes. You are making your way back to the ship using the continuous monitoring of their signals to stay ahead of them. And it's about this time that you have reached the beach where the ship is. And unfortunately, the Reliance is not alone. There are a dozen of those robotic-like beings with a slightly larger one amidst them, attempting to force their way into the entry ramp of the Reliance. And you're getting static signals from inside. They're clearly jamming the communications of Vector Rains and Jonamox, who are on board the ship.
Okay, well, obviously it's go time.
Yes, in fact, it is going to be go time. So we're going to use the Savage Worlds rules for what is called a dramatic task. As you are put up against the barrier of one, there are more hostiles coming. There are hostiles present here, and getting the ship up and running in a hurry is a priority. So the rules for dramatic tasks are sort of similar to combat in that we will draw cards, and then you will state what kind of actions you are going to be using to try and help with the situation. Perhaps you're a man of science and technology like Paul, and you will be using your action to try and repair the ship or get the ship up and running, or get parts on board it somehow. Or perhaps you're more of a frontline combatant like Ranger Rhonda, and you're going to use your fighting capability to keep the enemy at bay so that Paul can get the ship up in the air. Or maybe you're a spellcasting individual like Princess Hedgehog, and you'll use your magic in an offensive or defensive fashion. Either way, as we get to each of you on your initiative card, you're going to tell us how you are trying to help with this situation of getting the ship up and repaired and dealing with the threat of these hostiles that are immediately present and more that are on the way. You may, instead of using your action to make a fighting or repair or something else, choose to instead support an ally, which is also usable, but you will not contribute toward that success. If you do not reach a predetermined number of successes within the 2 rounds of cards, you will be forced into a combat to defend the ship, which might not go so well for you. So except for myself, will you flip cards, as I will not need a card in the dramatic task, as it's not relevant, but every other character is going to need their card flipped. One other thing about dramatic tasks. Oh my! Which Joker is a great one. It means that Paul is going to be doing great on this. The thing I was going to add, as one of our lovely people in chat pointed out, is in a dramatic task, clubs are bad and represent a complication, meaning that any person who got dealt a club card, whatever they choose to do, they're going to suffer a penalty of 2 to whatever they try to do. In addition, if you happen to roll a critical failure when you have the club card, the entire dramatic task fails for everyone.
Oh, okay.
Well, gee,
You
thanks,
may-
Savage Worlds.
You may choose on your turn when you have a card, if you are worried because you have a club, to simply not act at all. But that means that there won't be any successes going towards that total. Now, unless
I
you want
think
to go
this is
first-
a little bit rude. Can we just all agree that this? I think this deck is sexist. I think that it is. I'm kidding. All right.
Now, unless you want to go first, Paul, because you have the Joker and can go at any time, including interrupting another player's action in progress. Unless you would like to go first, it will be Ranger Rhonda attempting to go first with this dramatic task. You can, of course, as the amazing Clint creator and one of the rules people from Savage Worlds who came up with quite possibly my favorite tabletop RPG system of all time. Thank you, and thank you for watching, Clint. You can spend one of those bennies to redraw a card if you don't like the card that you got. Maybe get rid of one of those club cards that you got drawn there. You might get a worse card. I can't promise you it won't be a club, but you do get a chance if you want to spend a Benny to draw a different card, which might be a worthwhile usage, especially considering, chat has been extremely generous.
That is true.
It's 4 Benny.
Okay. Dealer, hit me.
Thank you,
I
Chat.
gamble.
You're
No,
not-
I had, do it again.
You're not limited to just one, and on top of that, not only did you have the 4 bennies in the store, but
Keep going.
don't we? Because Paul drew the Joker, everybody on the Allies team already got a free Benny out of that. So you've only actually
Well-
used one of those bennies up. Now 2 of those bennies up. You can still use another one of those bennies if you want to, Princess, and hopefully not get a club. I mean, there's only so many in the deck.
And I've managed to already get 3 of them. Hit me again.
I'm gonna laugh.
Oh my God.
Mark just messing with us.
Mark, I'm
That's
going to need
what
to
that
look
is.
at this deck.
Mark.
Wow. You still can. I mean, you would use the last of the store-bought bennies to do so.
No, it's fine. It's
And
fine.
what about yourself,
I
Frank?
will.
You haven't even used a single one of your bennies yet, so you could use one of your personal bennies to try and draw a different card if you wish.
Can I talk?
Because I'm on all of them at this point.
So theory wise, what we pick an action and roll for it every time we go through. So the idea is that we are trying to pick the thing we are going to be have the most likelihood to be successful at over and over again.
That's
Is that
right.
correct?
That's right.
And that puts me at a -2. Yeah, I'm gonna use one of my bennies. Definitely.
All right, a benny spent. Let's try and get Rhonda a card that's not a club. Wow, a lot of clubs stealing out there. That's a heart, a 9 of hearts. That's not a club. That is not a club. And
I'm not
yeah,
jinxing it. That's good. That's great. That's good.
Now, I also want to point something out as, again, Clint, thank you for joining us, and also for pointing out, you can, if you make a support roll rather than making a roll to try and do something yourself, if you fail that support roll, the task won't automatically fail, even with a critical failure. It's, not a big deal. So, I mean, support roll can still be the way to go, and a support roll can help someone else succeed at their roll. But with these new cards, it would actually be John Stone going first unless Paul wants to go first, which he can go at any time with that Joker. And anything Paul does will be at a +2 bonus. And you could even act multiple times and if you want to, and take a multi-action penalty.
Wow. Well, Paul's kind of slow, so They're not going to go first in any case. They're still walking onto the ship.
Okay. So John Stone.
Benefits for clubbing Princess Hedgehog.
Thank you, chat. We got a couple more bennies added into the store for you guys so that you can spend
Feeling
on.
the love.
But John, what task are you going to be trying to do here to help things out? Are you going to be dealing with hostiles? Are you going to be helping with getting the ship up and running? What's your plan?
So, number one, how many of them are there?
There are currently 13 present, but there are more clearly on the way as you are monitoring their signals, and they will be here in moments.
Okay.
You've got a fight on your hands, which is this dramatic task.
For sure. And you said there's a big one, right?
Yeah, there is one that is larger than the others.
Like how much larger are we talking here?
At least 1.5 feet taller, more of a reinforced frame. Clearly some form of leadership among them.
All right. So we're going to cut off the head of the snake. I'm going to go for that guy.
So you're going to be using fighting, shooting. What is your skill for helping out in this dramatic task?
Indeed. How far away approximately am I from him?
Well, because we're doing a dramatic task, how far away isn't going to be really important. It's more along the lines of how you want to affect this combat or this task. Okay, you don't have to be fighting. You could be helping, repair, but it sounds like you're going for the combat measure, which makes sense because John Stone is, well, cyborg and badass, among other things.
Right. So yeah, I'm going to go for the big one. Hopefully that will, get rid of their big gun, literally and metaphorically, and maybe even, wouldn't demoralize them because they're not even people. But yeah, I'm going to go for him first, see if I can, just take out their big guy.
And what kind of skill are you going to go for? Hand-to-hand with fighting? Are you going to use that plasma gun you acquired and go for the shooting end? What is your choice to deal with these interlopers?
Now I can still, do multiple actions, right?
You could do multi-actions. You'll take that multi-action penalty, but you'll also be able to get more successes faster, which is better chance of completing that dramatic task sooner.
All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run to the big man, and I'm going to do a baseball slide and kick him in the knee. Hopefully make him face plant. And then I'm going to try to shoot him while he's down, and then one of his neighbors next door. So
going for 3 actions, maxing yourself out. All right, that's going to be a -4 to the actions, but you're going to be able to make 3 rolls here. So the first one, the slide maneuver. So we're going to go with fighting for your first roll to contribute to the dramatic task. What is your fighting skill? And it would be your unarmed fighting skill. So any of those special bonuses you have for unarmed would apply.
Indeed. So my fighting skill is already 12 plus 2.
All right.
And I have martial artist and martial warrior.
Okay, so you're actually at D12 plus 4. So subtracting 4 means you're at the straight D12. You're going to get 1 success on your fighting. That's 1 success towards the dramatic task.
And, well, I also have brawler, which is toughness plus 1, add die 4 to unarmed damage.
Okay, if we were doing normal combat, we would definitely have that apply to damage. But because this is a dramatic task, it's just about getting successes. You still have 1 success so far. What is your shooting? Because obviously you were going to be using that twice more for your other contribution to the dramatic task. So what is your shooting?
12.
So D12, again, -4 because the multi-action going on. With a 1, and that won't give you a success. But we have 1 more because you were doing it twice, so maybe the second one will do a little better. Another D12 and a D6. A 7, a 6 aces, that might do even better. That gets you up to a 9. A 7 is still going to be a success. So John Stone has acquired 2 successes towards the dramatic task on his first turn. Pretty great there. And I believe we would be going next to the Ranger, unless Paul, again, wants to jump in. Has the Joker, can do so at any time. Got to make sure you have that option.
I'm gonna jump in if that's all right.
Absolutely.
Because I don't want to be dragging my heels here. We got to get this thing repaired. Paul is going to clamber up into the ship at a reasonable pace and climb into the guts of the ship, carrying that large cart full of parts and just everything that seems like it may be necessary.
Excellent. And what skill or skills do you intend to use?
So, are we monopolizing the use of these specific skills during this task, or am I thinking of a different system?
You are, in a sense, monopolizing them to a point, but it seems like you might be the only person working on the repair end. So,
Okay. Yeah, I'll be using repair, and I think using science would be probably, yeah.
Science, and are you going to make more
Yeah.
than one action or just go with a single action?
Yeah, I'd like to spend some time working on the repair, and I think using about 70% of my brain power working on the repair because that's the priority. But I want to do preliminary work on getting an amplified signal going, like one hand repairing, one hand building an amplification device.
So you want to use science and repair? Use two different skills? All right. Multi-action penalty is canceled out by your Joker bonus, so you're going to get the straight rolls on both of those. What's your science?
Science is science. 10 plus 2.
Ooh,
Science.
10 plus 2. That's going to be a 10, which is a success with a raise. That puts you up 2 more successes, so 4 successes so far. And what is your repair? Your repair is going to get a +2 support bonus because Jonamox and Vector Rains on board the ship are going to be helping you out with getting the ship up and running.
My buddies. Yeah, that's a 10 plus 2 right there. Base.
All right, D10 plus 2 and the +2 support bonus. It's going to get 12 totaled with the +2 and +2 for support. That's 3 successes. That puts you up to 7 successes before we've even gotten to Ranger Rhonda or Princess Hedgehog. That is extremely effective for a dramatic task. I'm going to point that out. Ranger Rhonda, how are you contributing towards this dramatic task?
So we've got 7 so far. How many do we need total?
I haven't told you that.
Ah, come on. All right. I think John Stone has explained to Rhonda that these beings are enslaving people, and that goes so far against the Ranger code. They are the shield against the darkness. So Hammer to Fall, the song, I think it's called Hammer to Fall, by Queen, plays magically.
Excellent.
And Rhonda, knowing that Princess Hedgehog is in a safe place, just takes a full running leap at the giant crowd of robots, takes out her impact maul, and just starts swinging, grabbing heads, popping rib cages, just going berserker on these people who are clearly the soldiers, but she has decided to take her aggression out onto.
Are you going to be making more than one fighting test, or would you like to?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with 2. I think I'm going to... Wait, how many bennies do we have in the store?
They just bought 2 more for you, and you still have 1 yourself.
So that's what's the total in the store? So total 2 in the store?
I believe, let me double check. I'm not sure if they've been keeping track when I've been using them off because I haven't done, but it looks like they still have 4 listed in the store, I believe.
I think that's because I was using my own personal bennies when I was burning through.
There are 3 still in the store, and you still have 1 of your own, Ranger.
Yeah, let's go 3. Let's go, yeah.
Taking a multi-action penalty of 4. What is your fighting roll there? That would you?
That's a D12.
All right, so a D12 and a D6. You're at -4 because you're going for the multi-action. Oof, that would only be a 3, so it wouldn't be a success. You can use a Benny to re-roll that if you want.
Benny.
All right. Again, a 3. You've used up 1 of your personals.
Benny.
All right.
More.
Not any better.
All right, I've got 2 more, right?
You could use 2 more.
Are we counting failures or just successes?
Only successes count. If you roll a critical failure, it's bad, but because you didn't have a club, it doesn't ruin everything.
All right, let's go. We missed that one guy.
All right. 1 more, Benny. Use. Hey, we've got an ace there.
Ooh.
All right, but even with -4, the 8 becomes a 4, which is a success. So there's 1 success, and that is only the first of your fighting rolls because you used up all those bennies on the first one. We still have 2 more fighting rolls at -4 to make. Let's get that next there. And 8 -4 is a success.
Yes.
That is 1 more success, and then 1 more from the ranger. Let's see what we can get. A 7 won't be a success. You could use that last penny up and try again.
Do it, do it, do it, do it.
Oh, I'm a sucker for peer pressure. Do it!
Yeah, do it.
Rolling again.
Oh!
Aces.
Hey!
Oh, that becomes a 20, which -4 is a 16, making a success with 3 raises. That counts as 4 successes, Ranger.
Oh!
And before we even get to Princess Hedgehog, you have exceeded the 12 successes that I required for that dramatic task. Wow.
Oh,
Nice.
man. And I
Now,
got the
going
princess
to-
safe? Oh, yes.
I'm going to be dusting off my hands, going, "You're welcome. You're welcome."
And you are able
You didn't see me do anything, but don't worry. I was supporting you.
you are able to get the ship repaired, and the enemies fought off before more troops can show up to get you. You lift off, engage the jump drive almost immediately, jumping forward to yet another dimension and escaping your pursuers. Hopefully now John Stone will soon be able to get in contact with the council and notify them about this terrible threat. Unfortunately, you're not alone for very long, as a very familiar looking wormhole opens up in this dimension behind you, and a pair of dangerous looking ships of remarkably similar construction to the Reliance appear behind you, as though you are in pursuit of you. They are almost identical in size, but heavily armed. And a broadband communication goes out, which is received on all of your comms as well as the ships. Unidentified beings, you will land and surrender your stolen vessel now or be destroyed. And hey, guess what, folks? That's our show for this week. Next time, will our heroes escape the clutches of this deadly enemy? What will we learn about the mysterious new foe? And will the crew stop drinking the jar full of Jonamox? Find out next week on The Reliables. Don't forget, guys, check out Void Jumpers this Wednesday and keep an ear to the ground to hear about some exciting news coming from the Zoe Game Night crew. I hear that they're up to something. I don't know what, but I hear that they are up to something. I want to thank all of you for joining us. I want to thank my amazing, incredible cast for another great, fun show. I want to thank the great Savage Worlds folks from showing up from their great stream tonight to raid and hang out and say hello to us. We love you guys. We're glad that you came in and watched us. And we're so very, very glad that we get to work with your great game system and have a great time doing it. Anyway, love you guys. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you had fun. I know that I did. We'll see you next time.
Who wants to get sponged?